изначально сегодняшнюю лекцию должен был проводить Клаус, который является основателем House of Guvera, но, к сожалению, он вынужден был остаться в Австралии, чтобы работать над другим проектом. Поэтому, если вам не нравится Джейк, вы можете уйти, он не видится.
So I'll talk a little bit about Guvera itself. Guvera is it's a music streaming app, and I'm not sure if everybody's familiar with that is. I'll kind of skip over that unless you need me to tell you about that. But it's bigger than that, and I'm going to kind of break it down and tell you about all the different facets and what we're doing as a company on a greater level globally to support local artists. So Guvera, it's kind of comprised of 4 companies, I would say, and these are not operating everywhere. We have service, but some of them are in different countries, and the goal is to get them everywhere eventually.
Guvera состоит как бы из 4 компаний. Сегодня Джейка вам расскажет, что это за компании, чем они занимаются. Они немножко, скажем так, работают по отдельности, но House of Guvera старается объединить их, и чтобы они работали вместе.
So first is Guvera, the music streaming app itself. We are operating in 20 countries, now operating in Russia, to just under 15 million subscribers. And we have a partnership with Lenovo as their music partner. We come on their smartphones in most countries that they operate in.
Первый проект – это само приложение Guvera. Это приложение, через которое можно прослушать музыку. Оно также доступно в России. У них есть партнерство с фирмой Lenovo. То есть на продукции фирмы Lenovo это приложение уже предустановлено.
And then the second part would be House of Guvera, which is the portion of the company that I head up. And this is the whole point of what we do is to create content around artists. So videos, interviews, photo stories, short films. We do all of this out of our space in Los Angeles. So we just launched our flagship space in downtown Los Angeles, and it's a music venue. It's a 300-person music venue with a state-of-the-art sound system, and we provide private shows with local and international artists for free to our fans.
Следующее направление – это сам House of Guvera, который возглавляет Джейк. Это значит, фирма, которая занимается созданием контента вокруг музыкантов, исполнительный, создание фоторепортажей, написание статей, снятие короткометражных фильмов. Также у них недавно открылась площадка в Лос-Анджелесе, на которой они устраивают бесплатные шоу музыкальные.
And then in addition to that, we're opening our second House of Guvera location, our venue in Mumbai, India, at the end of the year. I'm going out in a couple weeks to scout locations for that. And then at the beginning of 2016, we're opening one in Melbourne, Australia. The goal is for this to be in all of our major regions, if not every country is feasible, at least in every major region.
Следующая площадка открывается в Мумбаи, в Индии, всего через несколько недель. Также планируется открытие такой площадки в Мельбурне. И идея состоит в том, чтобы в будущем открыть соответствующие площадки по всему миру, и, может быть, не в каждой стране, но хотя бы в главных регионах.
And then in addition to that, with House of Guvera, our last responsibility, I would say, is, and probably our most important and the topic of this conversation, which I'll get more into later, is creating opportunities to partner brands with artists and finding new ways to get artists paid through original content or events.
Еще одна задача – это создание партнерских отношений между лейблами, исполнителями и различными компаниями для того, чтобы создавать новые музыкальные события.
Okay, and then the next part of the company, the third part, is called Fradio. Now, Fradio is something we're really excited about. It's a new app that works with Guvera. It feeds from Guvera. Right now, it's only operational in the United States and Australia, but it's going to be expanded, so I want to tell you guys about it now. And basically what it does is it allows everybody who has a smartphone to produce their own radio broadcasts in real time with voiceovers and everything.
Следующая часть Guvera – это Radio. Это новое приложение, которое сейчас доступно только в США и Австралии. Но это такое приложение, которое в будущем будет доступно и в других странах и будет позволять музыкантам создавать собственный стриминг своих песен, своей музыки, как будто бы радио.
And within the radio app, you can actually you build playlists using music from Guvera. You pull them from there. You can manage them in real time. You can change the order of songs. You can accept song requests in real time from other listeners. You can do voiceover, accept calls, and everybody who's listening can hear everything you're doing. So it really is like your own radio station in your pocket. It's pretty cool.
Это действительно будет как ваша собственная радиостанция в вашем кармане. Вы сможете добавлять туда свою музыку из Гувера и сделать в реальном времени трансляцию этой музыки с функцией voiceover.
And the fourth and final part of the company is something that is in the works right now. It's literally being created over this next couple of months, but it's 440 RT Records, which is our own record label that we're launching. And one of the people involved in the conception and implementation of this is Phil Quartararo, who is a former CEO of Virgin Records and Warner Brother Records. So it's going to be a big thing, and it's kind of all about supporting local artists and building artists from the ground up.
И четвертая часть Гувера – это создание собственного звукозаписывающего лейбла. Этот лейбл будет направлен на то, чтобы помогать начинающим артистам добиться чего-то в этом мире.
And so all of these four things come together to create Guvera, and this all kind of centers around one business model with two main points, which is to give people music any way that they want to consume it, and also to make the platform valuable enough that advertisers see the reach they can have through what we're doing, and they end up paying for it so you don't have to.
Гувера — это 4 платформы, все объединенные вокруг одной бизнес-концепции, которая состоит в том, чтобы сделать музыку максимально доступной, чтобы люди могли ее употреблять таким способом, которым им наиболее удобно. И вторая концепция — это то, чтобы рекламодатели увидели, что людям нужна эта музыка, этот продукт очень популярен, и чтобы они хотели размещать свои объявления и платить за свое участие в этом проекте, чтобы пользователям не пришлось платить.
And so the reason that our whole model revolves around free music and advertisers is because there's been two major shifts in the digital world and the music industry over the last decade. And those two shifts are, one, the downfall or slight crippling of the major record label business. Now what's happened there is obviously less large-scale deals are being signed than they used to be. It used to be very common for multiple large-scale deals to be signed by all the major labels at all times. And developing an artist from the ground up used to be valuable for a label because the more time you spent, the more it was going to pay off in the long run when you got record sales. But the reality is, these days, most people aren't buying records. You know, when's the last time, now that streaming is out, most people have bought records like they used to.
Есть несколько причин, по которым концепция данного проекта вращается вокруг бесплатной музыки и рекламодателей. Это потому, что произошли очень большие, наоборот, изменения в музыкальной сфере, и музыкальным лейблам стало невыгодно развивать артистов с нуля, потому что раньше они были нацелены на продажу пластинок и дисков, которые сейчас, к сожалению, люди перестали покупать.
And the second part of it is advertisers. The whole game has changed for advertisers as well. At the end of the day, nobody wants to look at an advertisement, a pop-up ad, when they're trying to watch a video or this or that. As soon as you can, you click off of it. No one watches 30 seconds of it. They don't have to. Advertisers realize this. They're tired of being the people that are disruptive. They're annoying you. They're trying to find ways around it, and this offers a new window for them to be able to do that.
Также правила игры изменились и для самих рекламодателей. Никто не смотрит рекламу, как только у вас появляется возможность закрыть окошко рекламное на сайте или во время просмотра видео на YouTube, вы тут же это делаете. И рекламодатели тоже устали от того, что никто не смотрит на их контент, и они тоже хотят поступать по-другому.
And Guvera was actually created specifically to address this issue. The whole idea behind Guvera, since its inception on day one, was recognizing this kind of new world that the major labels were entering into, and also recognizing the fact that people were getting too smart for traditional online advertisements. So we created Guvera as a platform, or Klaus created Guvera as a platform, specifically to address this issue. at the end of the day, advertisers, they're looking for new ways to get out there and do things, and advertisers have vast resources, more so than a lot of major labels ever had, when it comes to advertising dollars. And this is something that we're moving towards taking advantage of.
Идея создания Guvera заключалась в том, что создатель Клаус, он понимал, что у рекламщиков гораздо больше ресурсов, чем у любого лейбла, гораздо больше средств, и они могут действительно помочь молодым исполнителям. И он также понимал, что рекламщики устали от того, что обычный потребитель стал умнее, чем онлайн-реклама, и перестал вестись на нее, так сказать.
And at the end of the day, with advertisers, they have their own large built-in audiences. So when they can add in a musician's built-in audience as well, their whole motivation is to engage people in an unannoying way. That's what an advertisement is supposed to be. Something that's not displeasing to look at and maybe makes you like a product. So with being able to leverage their assets as an artist is an important new way of looking at the music business. It's the way that things are shifting, and as an artist, it's the way you have to look at the world from now on. It's just a reality.
Как исполнителям вам следует смотреть на рекламодателей не как на кого-то, кто пытается что-то продать, а как на кого-то, кто может помочь вам в новых изменившихся правилах ведения музыкального бизнеса.
An example of this is Scion and the band Transura. They basically Scion brought this band on and paid for them to produce an album, go on a North American tour, do all of their album art, promotion, and as well as include them in their advertising campaign. And this was something that was really huge for the small band, basically. It's finding an artist that they think resonates with their audience and gives them a better way to connect with their audience. Scion, it's a car company.
Одна автомобильная компания заключила контракт с молодой группой, помогла им поехать в тур, спонсировала их туры и заключила с ними рекламный контракт по рекламе их автомобилей, потому что они понимали, что для них это очень хороший шанс привлечь новых клиентов.
Also, a big shift that's happening is that traditionally, when this kind of advertising first started coming out, brands all wanted to be involved with the largest artist that they could afford, right? The biggest pop star or rapper that they could afford, because the idea behind that was maybe that would give me the most eyes on my product. But this new shift that's happening is that people are finding that it's way more valuable to find an emerging artist that you recognize as a brand resonates with your general brand message and present them to the world, because at the end of the day, that's how you connect with your audience on a more sincere level. You're basically building a picture for them to see you as more than whatever it is, a car brand or a toilet paper brand or whatever you might be.
Раньше правило было такое. Все бренды пытались найти наиболее дорогого исполнителя, наиболее популярного, насколько позволял их бюджет. Сейчас же правила изменились, и многие бренды понимают, что важно найти не самого популярного исполнителя или артиста, а того человека или ту группу, которая будет максимально соответствовать их бренду и тому посылу, который их бренд хочет отправить в этот мир, и человека или исполнителя, с которым максимально может, скажем так, соединиться, или которого может максимально понять их клиент.
And the reality is that advertisers have a massive capability to reach huge global audiences, and they can provide our artists, like I said, with tons of resources. But the whole idea is that Guvera was founded upon these principles, that House of Guvera is pushing this forward. But it's not a new idea. This is a reality. This is happening now, and this is a new business model. This is if you're an artist out there and you're not thinking this way, then you need to kind of realign. And a lot of people, even the major labels, are starting to look at it. It's not necessarily it's an adversary. This advertiser thing that's almost can be looked at by labels as somebody who can help take the pressure off of the expectations that they used to have to fill.
Сейчас ситуация такова, что мировые бренды и рекламодатели могут открыть огромные возможности перед начинающими артистами, музыкантами, исполнителями. И если вы начинающий музыкант, который этого не понимает, то и так не думает, то вам нужно поменять свой образ мышления и увидеть то, что это не просто новая идея, на которой была основана Гувера, а это то, как сейчас живет музыкальный мир и живет мир в целом.
And the other reality is that it's not just as simple as maybe a brand pays for you to produce an album or sends you on tour or gives you you win a competition that a brand put on and you get a cash lump sum. There's several ways that this can work. You know, Levi's might come into a partnership with an artist and produce custom merch for them, like jackets, tour jackets. Supreme, you know, does things with Neil Young. There's a ton of ways. It's the box. It's not even about thinking outside the box. There is no box. There's the reality that you can make anything happen, and these brands, they want to do this. It's a mutually beneficial relationship.
Если вы думаете, что бренд может просто оплатить ваш альбом или отправить вас на большой тур и проспродюсировать его, это не так. Есть очень много точек соприкосновения и возможностей для сотрудничества. Очень многие бренды, например, такие как Levi's, сотрудничают с музыкантами, создают с ними линии одежды, и примеров множество в современном мире, и вам нужно это понимать, как если вы молодой исполнитель, и жить этим.
And so with House of Guvera, we've spent the last about 15 months. I've worked with about 150 artists in 15 different countries. We've been really busy making films and doing all kinds of original content that wasn't necessarily branded, but the idea behind it is we've now built this platform that we're taking into the next stage, and now we're starting to get into doing more feature content, even actual feature films and documentaries, photo stories, interviews that are all brand partners, partnered up with brands for content.
Мы начинали с малого, и не всегда это было брендированное сотрудничество, даже если мы сотрудничали с брендами и получали финансы от брендов. Но сейчас мы добились того, что все наши фото, истории, какие-то статьи, короткометражки или какой-то другой материал, они все создаются в сотрудничестве с брендом и несут какой-то посыл от этого бренда.
And I'll give you guys some examples of some projects that we're working on right now. We are in the middle of pre-production on a major project with Harley Davidson in India. We're taking a band from Los Angeles, and Harley's going to bring them to India to do a cross-country road trip on motorcycles and stop in all the major cities and play shows. And what this does for Harley is this gives them obviously access to not only the brand's fans, but a reason for people to come look at their website, a reason for people to continually visit their site and see what they have going on.
Один из примеров – это сотрудничество одной из группы, которая находится в Лос-Анджелесе, с брендом Harley Davidson, который находится в Индии. Harley Davidson согласился привезти эту группу из Лос-Анджелеса в Индию, предоставить им мотоциклы, чтобы они сделали такой дорожный тур с остановками в самых больших городах Индии. И это дает возможность Harley Davidson не только показать свои новые мотоциклы и в очередной раз пообщаться с аудиторией, но также это дает им больше посещений их сайта, и люди начинают больше следить, более пристально следить за их брендом.
Another example that we recently did was Boost Mobile is a mobile phone carrier in Australia, a service. And they had a competition where they sent winners out to our House of Guvera launch in Los Angeles on July 16th. And we ended up filming some content with them. And we went with the winners from there to Las Vegas and San Francisco and took them on a little trip. And that's actually just online live on Boost Mobile's site as of yesterday, I believe.
Также другой пример с мобильным оператором из Австралии, Boost Mobile. Они отправили одну австралийскую группу на площадку в Лос-Анджелес. Там их выступление было записано. Также концерты прошли в Сан-Франциско и Лас-Вегасе. Эти концерты в прямом эфире транслировались на сайте данного мобильного оператора.
And a final example would be something we just did. I came here from Vietnam. We filmed a documentary on 3 emerging artists in Vietnam that we chose to highlight, and Harley Davidson ended up coming on as a brand partner to help us produce this documentary, and we just did the premiere last week in Ho Chi Minh City. So that's the third and final example of the video.
И последний пример – это сотрудничество, опять же, с Харли Дэвидсом, в этот раз уже в Вьетнаме, откуда и приехал на днях Джейк. Там они записали несколько короткометражных документальных фильмов, и опять же спонсором и брендом, который поддержал эту идею, стал Харли Дэвидсон.
Some other brands we're working with, we work with Harman here in Russia, and globally, McDonald's, Bose, Nikon, Boost Mobile, Virgin, and this is just kind of a handful of the brands we're working with in over 20 countries around the world, just to kind of give you an example of how much what I'm talking about is a reality. These brands are all present just to do everything I talked about.
В России также у ПР есть небольшой офис, и они также сотрудничают с брендами в России, такими как Макдональдс, некоторыми высокими операторами, многими другими брендами по всему миру. Это просто несколько небольших примеров, которые привел Джейк, но работа очень большая.
And just to go back to the physical spaces really quickly, the House of Guvera spaces themselves, like I said, it's always free shows for whoever's around, any fans that are around. You can't buy a ticket, it's open bar, free drinks, and we try to mix match emerging artists with larger artists, international artists, or nationally known artists. And the reason I bring that up is because, like I said, it's part of our program to roll this out to multiple locations. So we have Los Angeles now, Mumbai coming next, Melbourne after that, but we would like to have one eventually somewhere in Russia, and as well as our other major regions around the world. And this is just another leg of having brands get involved. So if they're involved on an internet level when it comes to doing video content or advertising through the Guvera platform, this gives them physical extension to give kind of another leg of interaction with their audience.
И Джейк хотел еще раз рассказать про площадки, и чтобы вы понимали, как они существуют, как они оперируют. На площадке проходят бесплатные концерты и начинающих, и более крупных исполнителей. Все проходит абсолютно бесплатно, включая напитки, бары. Вы не можете купить билет на данное мероприятие. Несмотря на то, что пока площадка только в Лос-Анджелесе и скоро открывается в Индии и в Мельбурне, также планируется открыть когда-нибудь такую площадку в России. И это еще один способ связаться с брендами и взаимодействовать с брендами не только на уровне интернета и онлайн-коммуникации, но также в физическом пространстве. Для них это еще одна возможность заявить о себе, а также помочь молодым исполнителям.
And I mean, really, to sum it all up, just to bring it down to what the end point is, it's basically we as Guvera right now are working towards continually signing, supporting, distributing local artists on a national platform, utilizing this global reach that we have and the access to artists and advertisers that we have to help maybe make this shift happen a little faster to this new reality. Because at the end of the day, advertisers are quickly becoming the new record labels, and it's something that's already happening. And I know I've beaten that to death, that point, but it's just kind of the whole point of my little talk here. So I just wanted to give you guys a little glimpse into how it's working with advertisers and music and everything. I apologize for being a little short. I know I'm supposed to talk a little longer, but I think you guys have been in here all day, and I've kind of said everything I have to say. So let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer.
В заключение Джейк хотел еще раз сказать, повторить свою концепцию про то, что компания Guvera помогает молодым исполнителям с помощью привлечения рекламодателей заявить о себе на весь мир. И также они хотят, чтобы те изменения, которые происходят в реальности, с их помощью, может быть, произошли чуть-чуть быстрее. И он извиняется, что повторяет это в который раз, но просто хотелось донести до вас главную идею с деятельности Guvera. Если у вас остались какие-то вопросы, вы можете их задать.
Hi, my name is Gaia. I'm a manager from Mana Island. It's one of the bands that on the festival. It's called Happy Belated Birthday, as I know. To prove the point that you were talking, actually, we either have a partnership with V-ROX and that's all.
Oh.
So kind of thanks for touching on that. The question would be, how do you recommend the artist to try and reach out to your friends? Because you, as a single something, you cannot come through all this people who are decision makers. And like we've had some experiences with that already. Of course, when you're a more acknowledged brand or something, they come to you. But how do you make yourself visible to them? Because, I mean, sure, you're this this bridge between the artist and the other one. Do you have to be signed to Guvera in order for the House of Guvera to try and match some bands with the brands? How does it work?
By signed with Guvera, do you mean does your music have to be available on Guvera?
Yeah, as far as I know, you're kind of the distributor as well.
We take music from aggregates and distributors, and
Okay.
that's made available for us to stream. Basically, maybe you go through like something like an Orchard or one of these big.
We're with Billing Digital.
Okay, so yeah, so that's where we get our music from. Is people who sign agreements with distributors,
Okay.
and then it's legal for us to play the music. But I would say there's kind of two parts of that. We do work at House of Guvera. We do work with some bands and musicians that are not on the Guvera platform. That was kind of a central point of what we were doing when we got started, because we didn't want this to just all be about driving it to monetizing the company. We wanted it to really be about supporting music. So to that end, yes, we do. Admittedly, we work with much more artists that are on Guvera than we do that are not on Guvera. But to the other end, let's say you are, as a manager, single-handedly reaching out to brands, and you're asking the best way to go about that. I would say the biggest key is to be organized. Come to brands with a plan, always. Don't just come to them and say, hey, we like you guys. We think we'd be a good vibe for you. What do you think we can do together? Come to them. Tell them, this is what I think we can do. Here's an organized layout. Don't ask them to do any work. That's key. Biggest thing I can tell you.
Yeah, that's for sure. But I mean, they have kind of assigned budgets already for 1 or maybe 2 years. They know their target audience, and I cannot calculate for them how much money they will make from collaborating with us.
Right.
Do you recommend going about that?
I recommend steering clear of the conversation about how much money anybody would ever make from being with you. I think that the biggest key is, you're right. I mean, the biggest key is budgets they're earmarked far in advance. But, and I know it's different coming from my position, but we make last minute deals happen all the time, and budgets always have wiggle room. I think the biggest key is to find the right brand for you, not just do a shotgun blast. Find the right brand and make an organized, endearing pitch as to why you're the right person for them.
I'll translate just in 2 words. So the question was, how just an artist from a small town or from that doesn't have connections get in touch with the brands? Да, извиняюсь. Вопрос был о том, как небольшим группам, небольшим музыкантам связаться с рекламодателями или связаться с брендами. И Джейк посоветовал подходить очень подготовленными и стараться минимизировать работу для самих брендов. То есть подходить уже с существующим планом и быть готовым показать бренду, что вы можете ей дать.
Я бы хотел спросить, чем Guvera, как приложение, отличается от других стриминговых сервисов, как, например, Spotify тоже. И есть ли какие-то существенные отличия в политике оплаты? Да? Потому что, например, исполнители, даже там, самые популярные, жалуются на то, что за миллион, условно говоря, прослушиваний Spotify они получают 1/10 цента. То есть, как бы, чем Guvera отличается от
The question is how Guvera is different from Spotify, because for a lot of and how the payment goes. What's the major difference between Guvera and Spotify? And there was one example that a lot of artists are complaining that when they get like 1 million views on Spotify, they get only 1/10 of a cent.
Yeah, I can say that as far as the difference between it, I would come back to the biggest point being that we're pushing a free model globally. That's our end goal. Advertisers end up paying for the music. You don't pay a monthly subscription fee. This is what we're working for around the world.
He means like what the artist
Yeah.
thinks of.
Now, going into that second part, I actually wouldn't be the person to give you an answer on that. I don't work on that side of things. I work all on the creative side. I'm not sure how that ends up working out. I will say that for questions that kind of go more towards the streaming platform itself and some of the technical issues, we have at the back table back here, we have Marie and Anton. They handle Russia on the Guvera side. Anton works out of Moscow, and they'll be happy to take some questions as well. They're sitting right over there. So that's a question that would probably be better suited for one of them, and I don't even know if they're the right one, to be honest with you.
Подобный вопрос, наверное, будет лучше задать Марии и Антону, которые сидят там сзади, и они представляют Гувера в России. И главное различие Гувера от остальных ресурсов — это полностью бесплатный стриминг воспроизведения. А что касается того, что получают музыкальные исполнители, к сожалению, Джейк не знает ответа на этот вопрос, потому что он этим не занимается.
All right. That's it?
No, that's not it.
Oh.
How do you get to play at one of your venues?
Speak to me. And that's it? Okay. Well, thank you again to V-ROX. I'm really happy to be here. This is my first time in Russia, so it's been really cool so far. Thanks, guys, for listening to me talk for a little while.